Fingers crossed. Come on,
It said
computer.
it's live.
It says it's live.
Yay, we're live.
Yay! Just gonna have to believe it. Hey, all right. You guys ready? Because then I'm gonna do my little intro. I'll introduce you
Sure.
guys, and then we'll start going. Aloha, patrons and listeners, and all you YouTubers watching us. This is Stuart Yoshida, host of the OokTown Podcast. We talk about all things ukulele. This month, we want to talk about ukulele retailing in the age of COVID. And to do that, I want to introduce my guests real quick. First of all, we got Matt. Oh, Matt, I forgot. Is it Matt Stead? Or
Stead.
Stead, thank you. Thank you, Matt. Matt Stead. Matt Stead of the Uke Room from the UK.
All right.
Aloha.
Aloha, Matt. This is Matt's, I think, second. Is it your third?
Yes, second, I think.
Nice. Well, welcome to the show again. And we want to bring on our regular guest, Ben Hassenger, the unofficial ukulele ambassador of Michigan.
I don't know. I think I'm the official one, really.
Are you not?
No, I'm the only one that would dare do it. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm official.
All right. When the governor signs a proclamation, please send it over. I want to see that.
I'll talk to Gretchen here.
Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah. All right. Cool. Great to have you back on the show. You guys can tell here that we don't have Doug, and when he gets back on the show next month, maybe he can tell you what's up. Otherwise, we miss Doug. I'm gonna let you guys know in advance that I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to capture all of the threads of links and things like that. Usually we have this robust list of incredible links in the show, and that's all Doug's doing besides adding color and flavor. So I'm going to have to rely on my guests, and I'm sure they can fill the gap there. But just in case we don't.
I've been practicing. Hang on, here we go. Hey there, Stuart. It wasn't great, but it was better than nothing.
All right, we're gonna have to get Doug and see how close he thinks that was, because he might be in danger of being replaced. Right. Yeah. No, we wouldn't do that, Doug.
Couldn't replace Doug.
No. And before we go any further, I did want to give a big shout out to Jeff Jarros of the Denver Folklore Center down in Denver. He is a manager of one of the great ukulele retail stores too, and I invited him here, but he couldn't make it. He was out of town today, and so we are going to just give him a shout out, and you guys are going to be talking about all this stuff that you guys are doing now that we are in this interesting time of the COVID lockdown. That's all I had. I don't know. And you guys have any shout outs you need to give here? Oh, let's go around the horn here and see what you guys are up to, first of all. So, Matt, what are you up to nowadays?
Really busy at the moment. So we just launched our own range of ukuleles. So we've launched our own brand called Forest Ukuleles.
You're kidding?
Yeah, really excited.
Wow.
So I've kind of been trying to perfect them over the last couple of years, and I wasn't ready to release them until I was really happy. So been working on bracing patterns and things like that.
Oh,
so they're
really?
made in made in the Far East, but to very specific specs. So they got a very thin top and X braces and all sorts of things like that. So they launch next month, which is really exciting.
Wow. Well, do you have a link or anything? Because put it in the comment here in our private chat.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send that over.
That. Yeah, absolutely.
It's called Forest Ukulele?
Forest Ukuleles.
Yeah, because you guys are right near the Forest of Dean. Is that where you got the inspiration?
Yeah, well remembered, Stuart. I'm impressed.
That's because I wrote it down here.
Nicely done.
Really? That's awesome. Wow.
So that's taken up all my time at the moment. We've just released them for pre-order, so they'll be ready to go out next month. We're just waiting on cases to come literally on a boat at the moment on their way over, which is exciting. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. They went to Barry Maz. Barry Maz, who does Got a Ukulele.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
He did a really lovely review last week. So, of course, everything's gone now. And it's like everyone wants them. So, yeah, it's been good.
He's quite the influencer. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, I knew he was popular, and I can imagine that only makes sense. That's wild.
That's
Awesome.
it. So that's the main thing, really. And then, well, we'll talk about it probably when we talk about teaching and store and that. But just trying to balance everything up with teaching and ukulele
definitely.
and whatnot.
We're going to get into that. That's really going to be the meat of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
one more thing, Stuart.
Yes.
I wrote a book.
You did. Jazz
Standards chord melody for ukulele. So that's the other thing I've been up to. All this surveilling and all that. So that's exciting.
Wow.
So that's available now. Thanks, Ben. Nice of you to ask.
Exactly.
It's available at the Ukeroom store. So just ukeroom.com. It's all on there, $16.99, and there's a pay hip version as well if you want to download it. Which I think is $10 and
do that.
ready to go. Cool.
Let's get that link up there. I want to check that out.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. I'll stick it down at the end because I'll probably have to look it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. We want to see that. All right. Well, great. You're keeping yourself busy. Well, let's go over here to Ben and find out what you've been up to, Ben.
I actually had my first live gig last week in 6 months.
Wow.
Oh, cool.
I was up in, I don't know how much, Matt probably doesn't know much anything about Michigan other than Detroit, maybe, and Detroit's awesome. But Michigan has two peninsulas, the Lower Peninsula and the Upper Peninsula. My family's from the Upper Peninsula, and in Marquette, there's a music co-op called the Hiawatha Music Co-op. And about, what was this, our 7th year? So 7 years ago, I talked them into doing they call people from the UP Upers. So we did Uke Week, where we did concerts and workshops and worked in schools and things like that. And it's built up over the years. And this year, obviously, there's a lot of things we couldn't do, like working in the schools and that. So we had a concert at this really cool outdoor a pub that has outdoor seating. It's all nice and distanced and everything.
Yeah.
And I played with Jeff Krebs from OokTown Music, who will be on a little later. And he and I played some original stuff the first set, and then we had like a 5-piece band. It was me on uke, Jeff on guitar, upright bass, banjo, and mandolin. And I had so much fun. Like, there's pictures of me with the biggest smile on my face. I got done, and I said, I feel like Bruce Springsteen playing with the E Street Band, you know? So, but other than that, I'm working hard on, we've got a couple big festivals coming up this month, Oktoberfest and Cyber Mighty Uke Day, which we'll talk about a little later. And as I was telling Matt, that I have a background in retail. I managed I've managed a hi-fi store, was a sales manager at Elderly Instruments a long time ago.
Oh, cool.
And was a sales rep for a bunch of hi-fi companies and some musical instrument companies. And now I work part-time with Farida Guitar and Ukulele, and as a national sales manager, and work with some retailers in that.
Oh.
So,
wow.
I got a long retail background, so I can chime in on that stuff.
I've bought ukuleles from Elderly before, Ben. So even over here in the UK. So
there you go. They're worldwide, that's for sure.
They are. I was surprised. I had heard about Elderly years and years ago, probably 15, 20 years ago, about Elderly, and I was just amazed. You know, they really embraced the online aspect of it pretty early. It seemed.
Yeah, well, it was a mail order catalog.
Right.
And
right, but switching over,
it's been like 45 years or something now they've been in business. So
yeah, well, and they may have been more prepped for online. You would think with a mail order catalog, all of those people would be able to switch to online pretty seamlessly. And yet, look at Sears, right?
Yeah, well, and you know, for Elderly, you know, sometimes when the newer companies come in, they start right off with they're digital natives, you know. So Elderly was more of a digital immigrant, you know. They started, you know, with paper. I mean, I used to help lay out the catalogs back in the day, and we used to
kidding.
We used to cut the pictures out, you know.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Do typeset, you know, for the thing, but they would crank them out on a big ditto machine, right? Yeah,
On a big press with the hand crank.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know what
yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not quite that, but
Uh-huh.
before really word processing and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, they made a really nice move into online retail, and they've got a great website, and it's just elderly.com, and they're a huge ukulele. I mean, they sell all stringed instruments, as you guys probably
Right.
know, but they've got a huge ukulele presence too. So
Yeah. I noticed that, and a really huge range of instruments too. Yeah,
yeah,
so that's one of the things is making that transition to digital can be difficult. And
yeah,
I think we should talk about that. We're maybe yeah, we're going right into it right now because we're looking at the shifting trends due to this whole COVID. I sent you an article. I don't know if you had time to look at it, but um, I don't know if this what you have seen, have you seen a surge in online presence or online hits now that people are locked down, or is it steady? Where's it at for you guys,
I
Matt?
mean, for us, it started with a bit of a surge and it's kind of tailed off slightly. So
Okay.
I think, well, first of all, like when COVID first hit, there was a bit of a shock, and I think everything dropped off for a little
Yeah.
while. But
Yeah.
once people kind of got used to lockdown and kind of reconciled with, in fact, with themselves that they're going to be at home for a long, long time, our orders for the shop side started to go up and up because a lot of people were taking up a new hobby, and people that have been playing for a while wanted something new to kind of play on. So in the kind of earliest couple of months, our orders went up on that side, which was an absolute kind of life belt because my teaching fell through the floor. So it was we were quite lucky in that way. But it's still there, but it is tailing off a bit now. I guess kind of a lot of those beginners, maybe they didn't carry on with it, which is might be a sad thing. But it's our job as educators to keep them going, isn't it?
I know, and I want to talk about that too. We can get into it, the lessons part of it too. I think a lot of these shops, and Ben, maybe you can jump in too whenever you want, but a lot of these shops seem to balance between either lessons and rental space and instruments, and the lessons part of it, I think, balances out in terms of keeping the people coming into the shop, even though I don't know if that's a big stream. Maybe for you though, it was actually a fairly significant income stream.
It was when we started. I mean, when we first started, we only had 6 ukuleles on the wall, and it was kind of for the students really, because they'd been playing a while and wanted something a bit better, in their starter uke. But nowadays we sell about 80% online. So to be honest, that side is less important. Personally, for me, it's really important because I've always been a teacher, and that's just what I do and what I love. So I've really like personally speaking, I've really missed that side of it. So we've had to think differently. But yeah, I mean, you just have to adapt, don't you? I was talking to a rep recently from one of the I won't say which one, but from one of the ukulele brands, and he was saying that his worry will be the stores that didn't embrace the online kind of way of selling, because if you're relying on people to walk into the store, if you haven't got people walking into your store, you're in trouble, aren't you? So I think it's starting to happen over here. Sadly, you're starting to see a few of the smaller kind of music retailers go that were kind of just traditionally on the high street, kind of relied on that side of things, which is really tragic. But it's just the way of the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the smaller retailers here in the States, I don't know what it's like in the UK, but the big guys, they'll have their own website and this and that, but a lot of the smaller shops are able to use reverb.com or something like that to have a really good online presence.
Yeah.
And I think in a way that helps those shops, because people go to reverb.com and there's all these, that's their one place to go, maybe, that they have all these places to buy from. So if you're OokTown Music or whoever pops up there, then you've got as good of a chance as anybody, and of course,
that's interesting. I know that Reverb is become such a popular place for buying and selling instruments online. And I think actually it's pretty much worldwide, right? Because I hear about people over in the UK, Germany, wherever, selling their stuff. So do they support like a presence if you want to create a quote store? Do they support that on Reverb?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, we haven't actually done it yet, but it's something that we've been looking into. I know Mims Dukes. I don't know if she still does, because I think she's changing her kind of the way she sells online, isn't she? But I know traditionally she had a Reverb store, and that was her thing.
Well,
And
that's a good kind of bridging way of bridging from where you are to maybe get to where you want to be. I think it would
She's
be.
still got a Reverb presence, you know.
I think
Does
she's
she?
still on there, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember her saying about she was looking for, I think, other options or something, or it might have been to supplement that rather than
Well, it
replace
doesn't.
it.
Yeah, it's not an either or, I would guess.
No.
Right.
And I would think it would be good for your brand to have a dedicated presence online where you have a store on your, you go to
Absolutely.
the ukroom.com, I think. And more and more, a lot of these websites are really embracing the online model, so they make it easy for you to do that. I don't know what you use. Maybe it's probably someone else can who's more into web design, but it seems like WordPress and all of these types of do-it-yourself websites have built-in e-commerce nowadays. Is that what you guys found, or what are you doing actually?
Yeah, absolutely. We use e-commerce through WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
Our site could do with a bit of tidying up. That's the one side of it I'm not that great at, but just setting it up
Mm-hmm.
and just using it through e-commerce was so easy. It was really seamless. We use WooCommerce, which is kind of one of the platforms which
Okay.
links in with WordPress, so it just goes through there. And yeah, it just makes it so easy, and it's so different from even like 10 years ago when you had to build a traditional website and kind of link it up. There's templates and all sorts now. It makes it so easy, which is good. I guess the difficulty, I don't know if you guys found this with like all the stuff online, everything's becoming to such a high level now that it means that you've got to be really at the top to compete in terms of like the cleanness of your website and how it functions and everything.
What was that, Ben?
That's kind of true with everything. It's kind of the same thing with putting on an event or teaching a lesson. People are getting spoiled. They're getting expect a certain level, and you gotta. I mean, it's never putting an event or teaching on. There's always something that can pop up.
Right.
But I know myself. I'm just figuring we're going to be doing this for a while. I mean, I just bought a brand new 27-inch iMac and little
nice. Is that what you're using now?
that I haven't used yet, and I've got Final Cut Pro and all this stuff. I got
there's all of that things that people are having to embrace, and it's not even these, and really, Ben, the stuff that you're talking about is more high end. I think people are just, in particular, this is the first time they really have used a webcam and microphones in any professional way, I'm going to call it. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen is like, you look like you're a ghost, or I can't hear you. You know what I mean? And not to say that I haven't been there too, but over time, it's when you do this year after year, you kind of go, well, maybe I should get some studio lights, and maybe I should get a nice microphone and all that. But it doesn't even have to be that good. It's just, hey, you got to be this, you got to get closer to your microphone kind of thing. You got to put a light in front of you, not in the back of you. And I think that.
Well, I teach a seniors group it's a Primetime Senior Center in East Lansing, Michigan. And just so you know, the definition of a senior is anyone older than me. But we've got a great group. I've been doing this about 7 years. Started out with 8 people, and our intermediate class now has about 40 people that we get together every week, and we work on songs and strums and some melody lines. But so many of them have been out buying like a blue snowball or a Yeti,
Wow.
and a better
That's impressive.
webcam, and getting all these attachments if they're using an iPad to make that better. And a couple of them have become really, really well versed and knowledgeable and turned into real techies. I mean, at
Nice.
whatever age, I'm pretty amazed.
That is amazing.
They want to do it so badly.
Yeah.
And it's such a social, as we all know, the ukulele is such a social instrument. And I always call it the most folk of folk instruments because it brings folks together.
I like it.
This is the only way we can get together now. So they want to have as good of an experience as they possibly can. Not that everybody's buying the new iMac or whatever, but everybody's figuring out their own comfort level with it, and upgrading things like mics and webcams. And
well, that's for sure. I was doing a Zoom tune-up course for the Boulder Ukulele group. And while I was doing my research, I was looking at all of these things I usually use, like a Logitech webcam and the Snowball mic. They're all sold out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't get them. Everyone, it was just, it's like, what? And I didn't even think about it, but because I already have it, right? When you have to podcast, you get all the equipment. But I just didn't think, and then it hit me. It's like, yeah, probably everyone now is trying to get one of these, and these guys are just scrambling.
Yeah, webcams have been in short supply. That little capture device to use your your camera,
right?
Got a little inline one that sold out, and then things like I just got this ATM Mini Pro, which I haven't used yet. That's my goal this week. This was sold out for a while. This is a video switcher.
What's it called? The ATM or what?
Mini Pro. There's a Mini and a Mini Pro. And the Mini Pro, actually, you can put an SD card in and record whatever you're doing.
Oh, nice.
And it's got much more options on it.
Well, put a link in the show notes here. Put a link in the chat, and I would love to look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's for switching and mics, or what is it for?
Yeah, it's switching video cameras, and there's two mic inputs. And there's all these, you can fade between cameras and this and that. But I'm figuring teaching, I'm going to have one mic that's focused just on my ukulele.
Yes,
without, I'm not always holding it up and bringing it in front of the camera, But like I said, that's my goal this week is to figure this thing out. But Craig Chi, that's where I got the idea from. Craig's been master of all this stuff, and he's used it. And, they've had a bunch. They've got Sarah's over with Cameron over here, and Craig's here. And that.
Cameron's running the sound.
He's doing it, man.
For those of you who don't know, that's Sarah Mizell and Craig Chi's little son. I think he's less than a year old, I think. Huh?
Oh, yeah. He was just born in January.
Yeah, he's just starting to get from crawling to walking or something. I can't remember. And they're moving to. Have they moved to Hawaii yet?
They're there.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
Craig's working with Kanalea now. So.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Is that why they moved over there?
Yeah. Well, and his family's there and stuff too.
Yeah. Well, I knew
and
that.
It gives all of Sarah's relatives a good excuse to go visit Hawaii.
She's from like Alabama or something. She's from the South.
Yep. But Cameron's first festival was supposed to be Mighty Ute Day in May.
Yeah.
And then he couldn't do it. So hopefully we'll get him on our online version.
Right. Yeah. You're gonna. So we can talk about that in a little bit. I definitely want to hear about more. Well, so what's been working? What do you think has been working that you've transitioned to that's good? Sounds like online store. It's doing all right.
Yeah, I guess moving the store online's been a big thing for us, really. In terms of teaching, I've kind of gone the other way from a lot of people. So rather than lots of Zoom sessions and things like that, I'm a bit of a technology. I'm a bit of a Luddite. I'm not that great with technology. So what I've started doing is series of kind of like a series of lessons on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I'll record videos, and I did like a 30 week ukulele theory thing.
Mhm.
So rather than kind of people having to pay in advance to take part and do it via Zoom sessions and all that sort of stuff, which I thought would just be a bit of an administrative nightmare, I just put the lessons up and then I just leave a PayPal link. So if people want to leave, you know, like a
nice.
tip, you know, they can do it that way. And that's worked out all right for me. It takes the pressure off, you know. And it also means if I go wrong, I can just put it back to the start and record again, which is quite nice.
There you go.
And then I just use Facebook Live. So again, same thing. I do a lesson every Wednesday evening now. And then I do a kind of capella on a Friday where I get people to join in songs and show them how to solo and stuff like that. And that's been really nice. And again, just same thing. I just do donations if anyone wants to donate and do it that way. So kind of a bit more of an informal way, I guess. And it's worked well for us so far, which has been good.
Now, for lessons, do you do one-on-one or is it mainly group lessons?
Used to be a real mixture, really. But the one-on-one, kind of the physical one-on-ones have dropped away completely.
Sure.
I've got a couple of people that have just started to come back, and now they're starting to feel a bit more confident. But yeah, I had a few that I continued on Skype, but over here we had an unusual situation because my kids were off school. I just didn't have the time to do the lessons anymore because I had to look after the kids, you know, all day and homeschool them and everything. So that's, I was like, so that kind of really dropped off. So we're just starting to get things going. But I expect you guys have had similar situations, but I was just kind of, I was just gearing myself up again. We were going to start doing physical group lessons again, just with small socially distanced groups.
Okay.
And then in the UK, they changed the rules that we couldn't have more than 5 people plus the teacher at any one time. So, you know, disappeared again. So I've just gone back to the live lessons.
Now, live lessons on Zoom or live?
On Facebook. I just do them on Facebook.
Sure.
It's kind of quite informal. So people, I just kind of teach either a piece of music or a scale or get people to join in. And then people just enter their comments as they go along. So I answer their questions and it kind of develops organically that way. But I kind of think it kind of takes the pressure off the students. They don't need to pay in advance. They don't have to be on screen if they don't want to. Sometimes people get really shy about that, but they can still play along and everything. So it's kind of a different way of doing it, I suppose. But yeah, how about you, Ben?
Yeah.
I'm putting these links up.
Oh, sorry, mate. I caught you out there.
That's good. That's
put it in the YouTube chat here. So I've just been plugging all Matt's stuff right here.
Oh, thanks, mate.
So about what are we doing online and how, I mean, mainly what I'm doing is teaching online. And, you know, the biggest adjustment for me, other than upgrading my technology, is, you know, as a teacher, you're so used to having that contact with your student. You know, you're looking into their eyes, you can tell if they're getting it or if you're just like, what in the world is this guy talking about? And I'm not teaching one-on-one, I'm teaching groups. So that's a lot harder for me to do, especially like a big group. If I've got 30 or 40 people and they're all in a little, you know, Brady Bunch window up there. So I think that's been my biggest challenge. I started teaching the online classes for the Primetime Strummers group for the summer. And over the, what do we have, six sessions, I think I learned a lot about, okay, here's what works and here's what doesn't, and about, you know, sharing the materials online and everything. So I think we're just gonna kick back into gear this Wednesday, actually. So cool. I think I'm better prepared for it, and I think the students are better prepared too, because they know more what they need, what to expect. You know, I've had people say, well, gee, why should it cost the same price if we're doing it online as opposed to doing it in person? And then you got to explain that, well, it's kind of twice as more work for the instructor. I mean, not to mention whatever you have to buy in equipment because there's a different kind of prep you have to have for it. You got to have it all done more in advance.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's a little hard to be quite as spontaneous, maybe.
Well, and
Go ahead.
yeah, you're absolutely right, because and there's a convenience factor too, that I don't know, that's saving so much time where you don't have to go in and go to the lesson and then come back. The one-on-one is great part. Just that convenience, I think, is worth a lot of value. And sure, they're saying, well, why is it the price the same? It's like, well, yeah, you have to do a lot more prep, and
Yeah,
it's actually
absolutely.
harder over the Zoom or internet or Facebook.
Do you know what, Stuart, as well? I found that a couple of my students have actually really, really enjoyed the Skype way of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And they've said that they've learned more that way. And I think sometimes I got into a habit when I was teaching people one-on-one where I would play along with them. And maybe it covers like some of the kind of, the errors that they're doing and stuff like that. And you kind of just say, oh, yeah, that was okay. That was good. Whereas with Skype, because it's very much like, I'll do this, you copy, or have a go at those two measures, and then we'll critique them. We've really got down into the nitty gritty of their playing, and it's really helped them really examine like little tiny techniques like right hand things. And also it makes them be a bit more disciplined, because for some of the students, I'll like set them, it's almost like homework, isn't it, but in a fun way. So we'll look at a certain piece and it's like, well, have a look at the next 4 measures before next week. And then they kind of need to do that prep for the lesson to work next time. So a lot of my students are being a bit more dedicated to their practice and kind of found themselves actually improving really faster online.
Yeah, and I think that people who have made that transition to the online, if they did it in advance, or at least they were in the process of doing it, they can actually continue to thrive. I know one of my former students who actually her main business is voice lessons, and she lived in Silicon Valley, so that was one advantage she had, and everyone was used to tech and used to video chats and all that, and so she was in the process of transitioning, and as soon as COVID hit, she went all online, and it was so successful. She was actually able to move to Nevada with her husband.
Wow, cool.
And it hasn't really affected her business. Now she's
amazing.
She has to do the attrition thing, because slowly over time you have to kind of replenish from there. But just a basic, when am I able to live? And her cost of living is much better. So
yeah, absolutely.
She was living in the Bay Area, which is just nuts.
Yeah,
I don't know.
crazy.
It's probably like living in downtown London or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I bet. Well,
I think
the accessibility of online lessons can be great for both the teacher and the student. This isn't an ukulele related little story, but I have a friend of mine that helps me with some computer stuff. And I go, well, can you come over at 2? He goes, no, I've got a yoga lesson at 1. I go, oh.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, my yoga teacher is teaching it from it was Pilates, a Pilates lesson. She's teaching it from the parking lot of a McDonald's.
Wow. Amazing.
I'm trying to picture that. Okay. But, and just like this, I mean, you can do festivals or lessons, figure out the time difference. Like, Matt could be teaching me a lesson right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, amazing.
It's a way to connect with people that you never could have done in person.
Yeah. And again, that convenience factor.
Yeah, funny you should say that, Ben, because my two longest serving students via Skype both live in Florida. So
no kidding! Wow.
It's amazing, really. So and I love it. It's brilliant. It's like you're in each other's living room, isn't it? It's just amazing.
It is, and that's where that whole thing about that's been good. I think here's what I think we can take advantage of is that this lockdown is forcing people to learn about technology, and it's making it the level of quality in terms of being able to Zoom and video chat or Skype back and forth has improved and it's going to only help the lessons, either both in being able to see you. They'll have better internet connections, probably, because if they figured out, oh, I better be closer to the router here because it keeps dropping out, or the fact that their sound is improving and their video is improving. I think that that's only going to help things.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I remember just even like 3 years ago, just because all my students' technology has improved. It used to be
Yeah.
that, you'd have a 45-minute lesson and 20 minutes of that would be, oh, we've frozen. I'll see you again in 5 minutes.
Right.
It's just like, oh my goodness, probably get about 5 minutes of teaching. Whereas now, it happens on occasion, but it's a rarity, really. It's just, which is brilliant.
Yeah. As people get used to it more and more, things improve there. Well, and I think part of the things that we've been touching on are starting to be addressed by these platforms. I know of a company that I sent you a link called Bongo, and they're an
Okay.
e-learning company where they do video assessments. It's more than just video assessments. It's the whole platform is designed to help with training, because they make it in a very structured format. Here's how to evaluate it. Any type of lesson can be plugged into this platform. And the really cool thing is that they're emphasizing these role playing and video things. So they'll go, here's a challenge for you, and the assignment is to play, I'm just making this up, a C scale or these
Yeah.
chords, and then they record it, and then you can then when you have time as the instructor, look it over, and this is a really cool part. As you're looking over their feedback that they've recorded, you can type in your comments, and the comments will be time stamped. So when
Oh,
they're
cool.
playing it back, right, these comments can come up with the timestamp.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was talking with one of the guys who they're it's kind of that marketing guy, but he's their engagement, so they're a community engagement kind of person. And I was telling him, look, for music, you've got everything built in, right? They already did pitch recognition years and years ago. You can now use that AI on the video so that you can say play a C scale, and they'll say, oh, you did everything except this note wasn't right. It's going to be should be an E, and you played an E flat or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
yeah, and you
That
could do
sounds amazing.
it's really cool. You got to take a look at it. And I've been asking them, what has the community been asking for? So here's your chance. I have an in with them. I could send them some feedback. What would you want to see? Then so the question is now, kind of with that framework in mind, what would you see you would like to have them add if you could, or what do you find compelling about this model?
I think personally, I can see that working brilliantly of when you're preparing students for grades. Not just ukulele, but it'd work on any instrument. But selfishly thinking, I'm just thinking of ukulele. That'd be amazing because my students could practice their pieces, and then literally, it could pop up as they watch it back. Oh, you missed that note there. Watch your timing here, and a bit more dynamics here. That's really cool. I like that. That's a really useful way of using it, I think, for kind of practice and grades
Yeah.
straight away.
And so one of the things that I was talking to them about was the access. How accessible is this technology? Because where they're selling is like, at a minimum it'll be $4,500 per month or something like that. But they're looking at more like universities and corporations, right? Was it
Yeah.
4,500 a month? Maybe it was a year. Yeah, maybe it was a year. But it was like, that's way too much. Ukulele teacher's not going to pay that. They said, yeah, you're right. So they have these platforms that have adopted their technology, and then they rent it out. I don't know if you've used
Okay.
any of those kind of things. Musicians Toolkit looks like one of them. They said that those guys are doing a fantastic job, and I think they are going to adopt their platform.
Okay.
It's one of those places where, though, it's not, you kind of rent their platform, right? They're selling slots, and then you
Yeah,
kind of
sure.
go on there. Do you guys have that have you heard of that? Where you become part of a kind of cooperative. In fact, isn't Sarah and Craig on some type of platform, Ben?
What are they on?
Artist Works, isn't
You-
it?
I can't remember.
I
But I'll find out.
Artist Works, Ben.
What's that?
It's called Artist Works. That's
Artist
Artist
Works,
Works,
right?
okay.
Yeah. Artist Works. Yeah, so that's kind of the idea where they may not have own the infrastructure or created the infrastructure, but they're using it to do teaching, and I think that they get kind of paid through how many students they get. I'm not sure what the business model there is, but that kind of thing would be feasible. If they incorporate this technology, I think it would be wonderful. Then you guys can have access to it. You don't have to pay for the whole thing.
Perfect. Yeah. I could see that working really well, Sarah and Craig's model, because they do a lot of things where they get their students to submit videos, don't they? And then they kind of do a video back with comments, but
I
they could
believe
actually
so. Yeah.
overlay it, which would be cool.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah, neat.
I'll have to talk with them more about this new platform. Maybe they can have feedback for them, because I think that would be great for just even just teachers one-on-one. I think it would be wonderful to be able to give your students feedback as they're playing back on their lesson being recorded. They get their your personal feedback to them.
Well, of course,
Yeah,
James
absolutely.
Hill has done. I mean, he's done everything. I think he's done his own proprietary thing with the Utropolis.
Oh,
And
right.
he's, he had all these different kind of different channels, and he's brought them all together. There's Jahui, the Ukulele Institute. There was, I can't remember the name of them all. He had like 3 different things. He's brought them all under one umbrella.
Yeah.
And I think he does that all himself. He's not using an external platform.
Right.
But I know he and Anne kind of early on. I think James and Anne saw that, hey, they've got a kid, Alder. It's not going to be as easy to travel, and
Right.
quite a while ago they started putting this kind of grand scheme into action.
Mm.
And I don't mean scheme in a bad way. I mean in a good way. This idea, this
yeah.
and they're really seeing the fruition of it. I think they had kind of that big picture in mind a while ago, and working up towards it. So
Yeah.
And did you see he started a podcast, doesn't he? James Hill.
yeah, I can't keep up with everything he's doing.
Well, you got to have all of those things, because the more online presence in good places is always good. Yeah, and the online university concept, I think, is really powerful in terms of being able to reach outreach. And although still, I love the one-on-ones when you're live and you're seeing them and you're interacting, right? For those many people who can't do that, this is a really good alternative. So I'm all for it.
I think as well, I think it's going to become more popular with kind of modern generations, because I don't know if you guys notice, but I kind of feel like people are becoming more and more introverted with kind of modern technology. I know, there's a lot of younger people that won't answer the phone. I'm pretty bad at it, actually. Answering my phone scares the life out of me sometimes. Like, I actually have to talk to a person. Oh my gosh, it's a nightmare. But maybe some of these platforms where there's less pressure, you're not physically having someone watching you the whole time while you're doing something in real time. They are, but they'll kind of watch back. Maybe it takes the pressure off a bit, and it might be quite popular.
It could. I think it's still a difficult thing for people to record themselves. See, this is why I think the whole COVID, if there's any silver lining here, it's forcing people to do more things like being online and getting used to being in front of a camera. I can tell you though, a lot of these people, when you say, yeah, record yourself or whatever, it's still, that's a stretch. They're like, oh man, did you see how I looked and how I
Right.
sounded? I'm like, yeah, welcome to the, I've been
You
dealing with
remember
that for
the
years.
voice recorded?
What's that?
Do you remember the first time you ever heard your voice recorded?
Oh yeah,
And you're going,
I
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
When I first started my podcast, it took me 3 years to be able to feel comfortable listening to the
he had a
podcast.
little small size reel to reel with the little 3.5-inch reels. Dating me, okay? But I remember he had
Man, you sound like that sounds like some scene from Mission Impossible, and also you're dating yourself.
But yeah, he goes, oh, he recorded it, and you listen back and you're like, that's not me. That doesn't
Yeah,
sound
exactly.
so it's even more, that is a big hurdle for people to overcome. And I mean, there's the playing aspect, am I going to be as good as so-and-so that's recording theirs? And then the hardest thing, I think, for a lot of people is singing, as far as being in with what your singing's like, because a lot of people have said, well, yeah, you're not really that good of a singer or something like that. So it's kind of this leap of faith you got to get over. And but I don't know, more and more the events I've done, and even in our summer class we had a little open mic section, and not everybody would volunteer to do it, but we had a fair amount of people that would, I'd like to lead a song. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, good for you, and I think they learn a lot when they lead a song or they do an open mic or they have it recorded. They can, they can watch it later and go, okay, I could have done this, or I could have done that, or that part was really good. I'll keep that. And so if you can get over the part of, oh my God, it sucked, you can really learn from that. We all can. I mean, I certainly do.
Oh yeah. I was just listening to a recording I did of a Vesper service, and I was like, oh man, that ukulele. I love the music. I loved what I was trying to do on the ukulele, but the tone was, I was like, oh, I can improve on the tone. And so that's the first thing I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be like doing my setup and just adjusting the tone, because there was too much high end and things like that. So yeah, recording yourself is one of the best ways. And I think that now that we're online and we're kind of being forced to do that, if we can push students to do that, I think they're going to learn a lot more.
Absolutely.
And I guess it's nice to show people the positives as well, because your performance might not be up to what you think is scratch at the moment, but then that's a really good resource, because then you look back in another month's time and you can do it. That's really satisfying. And then you keep doing it. I mean, look back in a year's time and you'll be, the fact that you're almost embarrassed of those old performances is brilliant, because it shows how much you progress, right?
Yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
I just rather avoid looking at that old stuff.
Oh, we've all been there, mate. We've all been there.
I know. That's the problem. Yeah. Let's see. What else do I have? So you kind of actually you covered a lot of it. I'm not sure where Jeff is. I was hoping he'd be on soon.
Hey, just whilst you're looking that up, Stuart, I don't know if you've ever had this, Ben, but my biggest thing in Skype now is remembering that my students are recording all the time, because they've all started recording my lessons, and sometimes they'll be like, I'm just going to go and get a pencil, and I'll be sat down like scratching my head, picking my nose.
I know.
It's like, oh man, just remember they're recording the whole thing. They're going to watch.
Yeah, you can have your room. Well, you got like a nice thing behind you, so who knows what's behind that.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I got to make sure I've somewhat cleaned up at least this part of the room,
Right. Yeah, everyone's getting a view of it, but they don't know that you don't want to see what's behind the curtain. That's
hey, sure. That man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
But well, hopefully Jeff can join us. Jeff has a really nice store in Marquette, Michigan, which it's the biggest city in the Upper Peninsula, and that means there's 20,000 people in the city.
Right.
Right? And it's a
Wow.
college town. Northern Michigan University's
Oh,
there.
no kidding.
He's really I mean, hopefully if he doesn't come out, I'll tell you all about the story. But he's got a really great thing going up there, and the ukulele's been a big part of it. So,
Yeah, his UKTone music. Is that it?
yeah, UKTone. Yep.
Yeah. Now he has a partner
Yep.
running the store, right? I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
remember.
The two of them own the store. They opened it up, but it's been a year or so, something like that.
Oh, they just opened.
Yeah,
Whoa.
maybe it's 2 years. I don't know. Time flies, but
Well, still, that's really new.
absolutely.
Wow. And boy, you know, a third of the time they've opened has been in COVID.
Yeah,
with
right.
this lockdown.
Oh.
Okay. Oh man, that's really a tough time to start a
Well,
business.
I mean, just like, and I'm Matt, you had to certainly do this. Just navigating, through the different closures, and things close and then they open and then they close again. And
I know.
I think you guys have some more restrictions again now over in.
Yeah, it's all starting to build up again now here. Sadly,
Yeah.
we kind of post lockdown, all the numbers are creeping up again. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
that's what
Well,
happens, right?
I know. That's it.
It's just
We open everything up. Well, then it's going to all close down, So
Exactly.
well,
Yeah.
and we just gotta learn how to do it responsibly.
I got to give them credit. I mean, they get a lot of flack, but they're just dealing with so many unknowns, and they're learning as they go along, just about the medical aspects of it, the economic and social aspects, and there's no one knows like the perfect thing to do.
No, it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
Well,
know
that's one thing I'd like to cover is just the aspect of it that I think one of the important things about having a physical store is people walking in and being able to actually hear, play, and interact, right?
Yeah.
So that must be a big hit. And how do you get over that? How do you get around that?
But I don't know if there's an easy way to get around that, really. I guess it's just, I think you have to be a bit more flexible online. So, your returns procedure, you've got to be a bit more forgiving on things coming back, if
Right,
people don't
right.
like it. It's a fine line, because you don't want to get to the point where people are just kind of like trying it for size like
Right.
dresses
You gotta
through mail order. So it's kind of finding a balance, but there's got to be a bit of that. Because, it is totally different inside the store than online, because I get people every time they come in. It's really interesting. They'll quite often have one or two ukuleles in mind, but then they'll just play one and somehow it will connect with them, and it wasn't what they're expecting whatsoever. And I'm kind of missing that side of it, because I love that when people go out with something completely different, and that it's going to be really special for them, because it's like the ukulele has found them a little bit, and so you don't have that so much online. But yeah, I guess just being flexible and being willing to help people out. So I talk people through our products a lot more now than I used to. Kind of, nut width, the tone it produced, my opinions. People are asking, what do you think? Do you prefer the spruce or the cedar, and things like this? So you have to be a bit more kind of open like that, really. But yeah, the trouble is nothing's going to replicate that.
I know.
In store.
Have you ever played the instruments for them online?
Yeah, I quite often just record like a 2 minute,
right?
Well, sometimes not even that 30-second clip, just to give them some idea. And I know it's not the same, but you can get some kind of idea of the tone.
Well, yeah, you can get an idea of, at least the difference between them. Even if you can't get the pure sound, but so much of choosing an instrument is how it feels to you. How the thickness of the neck, or the width of the fingerboard, or the how the wood looks to you, and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
hey guys, we're gonna add in Jeff right now.
Oh, great! There he is,
Jeff.
Hey.
Welcome.
Oh, nice shirt, Jeff. Where'd you get that?
For you.
Hey Jeff, if you can get a little closer to your microphone, I'm having just a slight trouble hearing you.
How's that?
Great.
That's
So
not-
much better. I always
Awesome.
tell people that the secret to a great microphone is how close you can get to it. So that's you just came in the perfect time. We were just talking about how to deal with the COVID lockdown when a lot of the advantages of having a physical store is that people can come in and play the music, play the instrument, and how are we getting around it? So, for instance, Matt was saying that he's done some recording. We'll do a recording of several instruments and send it to some prospective buyers. So, what have you been doing to address this?
Well, our shop was shut down for a while, but it is open now to people wearing masks. We've got more or less regular hours. We have been doing some video demonstrations, some Facebook Live.
Oh, that's a great idea too.
Yeah, especially if somebody expressed interest. Most of our instruments are posted online anyway. So if somebody expressed an interest, they want a sound demo, we do a Facebook Live, send them a link, and that way it can create outside interest in that instrument, but also give the customer what they want, which is how does it sound? What does it look like more in depth than just a few pictures,
Right. Well, and see, this presents a challenge to a lot of retail stores that have never had to deal with this. Now, you guys may know the ukulele site run. One of the guys is what's his name?
Andrew
Kitatis.
Kitsakis.
Yeah. What was his first name again?
Andrew.
Andrew, right. Yeah, and so he has, oh my gosh, not to say that you guys have to do this, but he has these really high-end cameras and all these high-end microphones and a really pro setup, and then he's got Calais Gamiao performing, so what can you say, and all that other stuff. But yeah, so has that been something that you guys have been looking into? Is that what you use when you're doing the demos? Because that seems to be a big change.
I kind of see the ukulele site like the gold standard. I've bought quite a few ukes off them over the years before I had my own store. Yeah. Because, of course, in the UK until recently, Southern Ukes have really upped their game, and there's us and World of Ukes and a few others. But until like last few years, if you wanted really nice Hawaiian ukes or custom stuff, that's the place that you had to go really and wait for them to be sent over. But I've always loved their demos, when Corey Fujimoto used to do them all and stuff, and I know he still does some Calais and that. They're like the gold standard to me. We're not there yet, but that's something that I do aim towards for sure. Because I think
it's a great idea though to with having a Facebook session like you're saying, Jeff. And so how do you set those up? Do you do anything special, or you set up in your shop, or just kind of give a
usually we just do it on an iPhone. Very easy, just Facebook Live. And we like to shoot in our acoustic room or our ukulele wall. There's other two spaces. So we're kind of showcasing other instruments passively at the same time.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, or sometimes actively. Sometimes we'll say, oh, this is how this sounds. But also we just got this in, and you might be interested in that as well. So it is very effective, and we need to do it more and more, but it always creates interest in something, or at least, people are on Facebook all the time, it seems like. So that, even if it's
more so nowadays, right?
That likes our shop, or has liked our page, and it pops up in their feed, and maybe it just reminds them that we're here, that we're selling strings, that we're selling instruments, that we, have lessons limited, but,
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of retail stores, that'd be a great idea for them to just get online and have a presence there.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, we need to have that presence. We need to post to Instagram. We shoot that to Facebook, and just the pictures of things. People love pictures of instruments.
That's a good point.
They do. They want something. Like what can I buy next? What will expand my musical vocabulary more?
Yeah.
It's all eye candy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Jeff, I know you know Ben, but we got Matt Stead from the Uke Room over in the UK. So that might be, you might have noticed his accent. That's where it's from.
I did. You might have noticed my Uper accent.
Oh, right. The Upper Peninsula has its own dialect, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you betcha.
I've got a friend in Ann Arbor. Is that kind of close?
No.
Oh.
Actually,
it's in the same country.
It's the same state, but it's like a 9-hour drive.
Oh,
9
fair
hours.
enough.
That's pretty far. So
Yeah.
So I'm I do this backwards. Wait, it's hard to do. Oh, I'm in the UP, and Ann Arbor's way down here. Yeah, it looks backwards.
Nice.
Oh, that I get it. Got it.
Yeah, this is
And
right.
Is
Yeah.
the giant ukulele Canada?
Ukulele. Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah,
giant ukulele, is that Canada?
No, that's
no,
the upper.
that's the Upper Peninsula.
Ah, gotcha.
Right.
So
Or the
two
ukulele.
separate areas, Michigan.
How far across?
We'll have to teach them about the hand.
Right. There you go.
How we tell people where we live.
Right.
Ah, gotcha.
Where's Guelph in relationship to, I guess,
That's
is that
west of well, let's see. So here's Lansing. And then Detroit here. And then Canada is actually part of it south of Detroit, like where Windsor is. And Guelph's kind of in between. Up here is Sarnia. It's kind of in between Michigan and Toronto. So it's kind of about halfway in between. It's east of Michigan. So
okay.
So this must be what geography is like online nowadays.
Yeah, showing your hands. Show you. No, the UK, the main island is sort of just a big blob, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like a big blob with a bit sticking out at the end, I guess. Something like that.
It's all God's handprints, right?
There you go.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, so Jeff, you why don't you catch us up? We were talking about the what's been working and things like that, and I was going to say too, we should talk about what you've tried and you're going to that didn't work maybe. So Jeff, now that you've been through this lockdown probably a couple times, what have you changed there that's been working?
Well, we have since we were locked down, one of our main things that we changed, we had over 100 students coming in weekly
Wow.
but also guitar, piano, and that hasn't been happening. We've got a new guitar instructor. Our uke lessons we've only got a couple right now. Some of our teachers are teaching online, but that foot traffic has been very difficult to replace.
Yeah.
But we are happy to report that we are about even with our sales last year overall.
Really?
Incredible. But we've stepped up our online
Yep. Oh, you're
to
dropping out.
compensate. And we've been,
Yeah.
I think we're just buying better,
Mm-hmm.
buying more ukuleles and acoustic guitars. Those are selling really well right now.
Well, and I've heard that people are taking up the ukulele more, or instruments maybe in general, not that they've locked down. Do you find that's true?
I
What do you
do.
guys think?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely.
And so when you say
Yeah,
online,
we got some people, excuse me. Sorry, thank you. We got some people that are just had it in the back of their mind. I've wanted to learn an instrument, and wow, now I have time. I don't have to do this any longer. I can't put it off any longer. So.
Yeah, and now you have an excuse. You said, instead of friends going, yeah, hey, let's go out and have a beer. It's like, no, I'm going to be home here, but hey, might as well now I've got time to pick up my instrument. I think that's
Right.
fantastic. So when you say online, what did you do? Did you set up your own website? Are you selling it on Reverb? What are you doing?
Well, we do sell quite a bit on Reverb, and we actually we set up our website through Reverb.
Okay.
When we post, it automatically goes to our website, and we can put our other content as well on our website. So that's very handy, I think. We've done that since day one, having Reverb host our website.
Okay.
So when I get an instrument in, it goes online. It goes to the top of our feed, which is on our home page. You scroll down a little bit, and then all of our instruments and some of our accessories are right there.
Okay. Well, so your website then is OokTown Music, or what is it?
OokTown.com.
OokTown.com.
I
Yeah.
put the link in the YouTube.
You did? Okay. Awesome.
Thank you. And Yoop is, we live in the Upper Peninsula up here, which is nicknamed the UP, or that's where the word Youper comes from, which is what we are that live here.
Yes, and Ben did a great job of. Actually, I think Ben, you've been talking about UP. Didn't you have a Yoop something festival?
Yeah, the Uper Uke Week. We just
Uper
had last
Uke Week. There you go.
Yeah.
Jeff and I were leading the concert that night.
Oh,
so,
right. That's
yeah, we were rocking it out, weren't we?
nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a great time.
I think everybody had not played out in public for the longest time, and we all had a blast. So
I think that's going to be when more and more people can play out. There's going to be all this pent up energy.
that's
It's
for
going to have
sure.
an explosion of music, hopefully.
It seemed like a relief for all the musicians. Ben and I and my band kind of backed us up. We haven't played in 6 months on a stage, and we were in a beautiful location, outdoor with picnic tables. People could be safe. And I think the audience was relieved, too, to just be outside, having a drink. Music, ukuleles everywhere. It was awesome.
Yeah. I think that is something that we're going to miss or we're missing. And, the thing about it is we've got winter coming up too. Someone was writing, was it in the New York Times? Where is it in one of these Nordic countries, where they're like probably laughing at us because they got, every winter for 6 months, we got a lockdown with the cold coming in. I don't know.
Tell them about winters in the UP, Jeff.
Yeah, there you go.
It can get quite extreme.
So what's the
snowfall in the cold?
So you guys are used to this. No, what do you do? When it gets so cold, you have to stay in for days at a time, and which is what we've been doing, I guess.
Yeah, I think the Yoopers in general are very hardy people. They have to be to want to live up here. It's an incredibly beautiful landscape, but it's a harsh winter and a long winter. But I don't think too much will change, other than people eating inside, people having a beer inside. That's probably going to change. But I think more people will be outside skiing, doing the outdoor activities, which biking's huge here, mountain biking, and snow biking is huge here.
Snow biking?
Yeah.
Nice. So you got the studded,
biking.
Yeah, those fat tires with the studs on them.
Yeah, I am definitely in the minority that I don't have a fat tire bike yet.
Sell some more
down in the snow.
I remember just for an idea, Stuart and Matt, my parents lived in Ishpeming, which is about 20 minutes west of Marquette, where Jeff is. And I remember one year they had 325 inches of snow that winter.
Whoa.
I went up and had to shovel out their windows so they could see outside.
Yeah, it's not for months. It happens over a 6-month period. So
yeah, right. Yeah,
except it doesn't melt, is what I heard. Right? Is that the problem?
After a while,
it does accumulate.
My friend from Ann Arbor used to say one of the things that she lived when she was living in the UK was she missed having a winter wardrobe and a summer wardrobe, because over here it's like you just wear the same thing all year round. You might just take a jumper off, in the summer.
Yeah, Ann Arbor's not far from Lansing, where I live.
Yeah,
and even in May, I mean, the UP will have snow in the shade way into May.
Wow.
But in Lansing, even during a Mighty Ute Day, Mother's Day weekend, it snowed, and we had the whole Kamaka gang over from
Oh, no
Hawaii.
kidding. Oh, neat.
Aka and his wife and Kalei and
Yeah.
Asa Young and all these people. And they were like, it started snowing. They're going, wow, this is so much fun.
I know.
Oh,
What's
I know.
all this white stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, when I went to Purdue University coming from Hawaii, and that was my first winter there, yeah, all the Hawaii kids are out going, wow, catching snow
Right.
on your tongue. And yeah, but that got old really quickly. I think it just took one semester. Yeah, we're over it. Yeah. Well, Jeff, since you came in a little late, just feel free to jump in if you have other thoughts on this. I wanted to talk a little bit now about what you're doing, Ben, with these online uke festivals. So what's coming up here again? You've got the Mighty Uke.
Yeah, we just finished Uke Week up in Marquette, which I said was kind of truncated because we couldn't go into the schools and that, but we were able to do some outdoor, nicely distanced workshops and our concert. But this coming Saturday, October 3rd, I'm hosting Uketoberfest at Interlochen School of Music, which is a world famous arts university, basically, or school. And this is our 6th year, I don't know, 5th or 6th year. And obviously this is our first year doing it online. So we've got we have Daniel Ward.
Oh,
We have
great.
Diane Nalini, who she's awesome, incredible jazz. Danny Joy,
Oh, yeah.
myself
Wow.
are the instructors. So we have a strum and workshops and a concert. And usually after the concert, when we do it live, we go to this little pizza place and everybody just plays ukulele and drinks beer. And, the more they drink, the better we all sound.
That's right.
But so we're actually going to kind of do a online version of that somehow at the end of that.
Okay.
So that's called Uketoberfest. And then Mighty Uke Day, which is the big one that I run. That is usually Mother's Day weekend, mid-May. And of course, that was right in the middle of everything, so we couldn't do it. And that's a big fundraiser for Music is the Foundation, which is a nonprofit that I run that supports music programs in Michigan, classrooms and communities. We've helped out with a couple of schools up there in Jeff's neck of the woods. And we're doing that online October 23rd and 24th. And that's going to have Craig Chi, Sarah Maisel, Brian Tolentino, Herb Oda Jr.,
Oh, wow.
Gerald Ross, Gracie Terzian, Marlo, and Carla Kane. And it's a day and a half of workshops, a couple concerts, group strum, late night strum, all kinds of stuff. So
Now, when you say, when you say online, does that mean that the guests, or not guests, but the musicians are going to be together, but everything else is online, or everything is virtual? How are you doing that?
It's all Zoomed. Then
Okay.
with YouTube feed, and pretty much
Yeah.
it's all going to be live. I think a couple of the performers for Friday night are going to record their session, and then we'll broadcast it, through the portal there. But
Yeah.
no, they're going to be teaching online, teaching live,
Right.
and the
Wow.
concert is going to be. We're leading the Ukulele Kings, my group. We're leading a strum. Most of it's live through Zoom, and a couple things will be recorded in advance. But
See, this is where everything is changing, because the logistics of that, it's a lot harder than it looks.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. So my first experience with that was doing the Ashokan Uke Fest. I took the Ashokan Uke Fest over this year from Gerald,
Yeah.
and of course, then all this happens. It's all my fault, right? But
It seems that way, Ben.
I know. It's always my fault. But we had, I didn't even think we could have a festival. I was like, this was Memorial Day weekend, the end of May. And, then Jay Unger, who runs the Ashokan festival there, he said, well, let's do this. And this was 2 weeks in advance. And I'm like, well, okay. and it went really well. They actually had a nice, behind the scenes, they had a few tech people that really helped make everything run pretty smoothly. There's a hiccup here and there, but everybody was so happy. We had 200 some people participate, which is twice as many as we usually have in person, including people from the UK and Japan. And so that kind of gave me the idea, okay, we can really do this. Now, when I do it with Interlochen, they're an educational place and they've got all the stuff to do it.
I was wondering about that. They probably have a studio and everything. And
so all I got to do, and the other instructors, is just hook up with them and they control everything. But Mighty Uke Day, that's going to be our own thing. So I've got a team of 4 of us that are going to be behind the scenes, monitoring, checking,
absolutely,
and all that kind of stuff. So
that is why it's so hard when it's only you doing it. It is really difficult. And I know that Craig and Sarah, there's Craig and Sarah, but then Craig and Sarah, and then someone's taking care, of the kid, right?
Right.
Cameron is running around, and it's like, how do they do that? And
I don't know.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
But
Craig is like a tech genius, though, isn't he? He is. He's amazing. With
a techie, and then person learn more, and and Sarah knows her way around that stuff real well.
Yeah,
we've got someone here. You might have met her, Jeff, when you were down for Uketober or for Mighty Uke Day before. Jeff's helped out with Mighty Uke Days, and her name's Sherry Ballard. We call her Awesome Sherry, and she's got the most positive attitude in the whole world. But she is also like super techie, man. She's been forced to, and she's the one it's been a little bit of what do you call it? One-upsmanship. Okay, she's got this. Well, I better get this, But she's always got me beat when it comes to the tech stuff. But she's been a great resource, and she's going to be behind the scenes. So, and a couple of the other people have really learned quite a bit as they've gone along. What I found with a lot of my groups is that they miss getting together so much. They've started their own strums on a Monday night or a Tuesday afternoon. And so they're all figuring that out. I'm pretty amazed how much people have figured out just by doing it, they've been forced to.
They have. And one of the things I wanted to point out to a lot of people who are thinking of doing these things is that having a person be the tech person behind the scenes is so helpful.
Absolutely.
To watch out for it, because as you're being the host, you got enough on your hands there, just trying to remember what the agenda is and bringing on people, and then having somewhere in the background where someone else is queuing up the next person and then switching them in. Man, that's gold. And I'm so glad to hear you got some
online series with the Hiawatha Music Co-op on Thursday nights.
Yeah, each Thursday night.
What is that?
Well, I'm on the board of directors for Hiawatha Music Festival, which is a traditional folk festival, traditional American music festival held in Marquette, Michigan every year. It's a great festival. And we've hired Ben several times to do uke workshops, and I usually play there each year. I do children's music. That's kind of my niche, and I write and perform kids' music. And now I'm on the board, but we had to shut down. Of course, we couldn't hold our festival, which was 85% of our money for the year.
Wow!
So we started in May to do Thursday night, and we call it Live from the Fold. We call our office or our gathering area the Fold, and it's just Facebook Live. It's a live concert, and we ask for donations, and we split that with whoever's performing. We've had performers mostly in the Upper Peninsula, but not always. We've had, we went out to Hawaii for one, which was awesome.
Nice.
Traditional Hawaiian. One of our members had a relative in Hawaii, and so we did live.
So was this during COVID though?
Just now, yeah. Just since COVID. Every Thursday, and it's Hiawatha Music Co-op's Facebook page.
Okay,
but in the
7 p.m. I don't think we have a concert this week. I think we had a gap in the schedule.
So this was but these are all virtual, or how do you do those?
Yeah, we let our artists, if they're not physically in the fold, usually I'm there, or before that it was another member that would kind of just set up the laptop, the microphone, and get ready to go. But if we also can, we let people be an administrator for a day on our Facebook page, so they can get behind,
okay,
and they can go live from there. We have a donation button, and we've been able to actually raise a significant amount of money through these concerts.
Very cool.
Great. People enjoy them. They just want to watch these.
Yeah.
Some people that they know, some new people that they haven't heard of before, doing traditional music.
I think
Cool.
that's been one of the positives, hasn't it, of COVID? I think, like you were saying earlier, Stuart, and I've got one of my students, a lady I teach called Linda, and she was saying to me last week, it's like an amazing time at the moment, because she can be at music. She's retired and she's on her own, but she can be on music concerts all day because of the time difference. She got stuff in the States, she got stuff in the Far East, she got stuff in the UK.
Yeah.
She can watch a few concerts during the daytime. She can take part in a strum in the evening, and it's just amazing. As long as you have got that technology and you can be part of it, it's that's one of the positive things, isn't it? Really, that's come out of this.
It
There's
is.
so
I
much
think
out
it
there
is.
now.
Yeah. The
Incredible
community
amount of
has
live streaming.
opened up. Yeah, live streaming and community like that, and I don't know how when we say strumming, I'm assuming though that the strumming is you have a leader and they have to turn off their mics, right? Is that or
Right.
have you gotten
Yeah, otherwise it's a bit messy.
or as Doug says, it's like a box of ukuleles dropping down the stairs. So anyway, what was that question? Oh, the donation. Yeah. So how do you do the donations? Is that on Facebook or some other PayPal?
It's through Facebook. Since it's a nonprofit, Facebook allows donations to a charity sort of attached to a live stream. So
Nice.
it seems like sometimes it's like it's always a gamble. Is this going to work or not? But 9 times out of 10, you start your live feed, your Facebook Live, and someplace on the page you find the donation button. Then you have to point that donation to an organization, which is our organization.
No. Yeah.
And then money comes in. The artist will say, hey, this is a free show. Donate if you're able, if we want to. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, it would help us out. And then we'll raise, usually a few $100 to $1,000 each show. We split that with the artist.
Great.
And the artist has the option of donating that to the co-op as well if they like. But it's there to raise money for artists,
Absolutely.
So it works really well.
Yeah. I know that a lot of artists are being impacted by this, and that's why, this concerts that Craig and Sarah put on, and everyone else, you too, Ben and Matt and Jeff, because then they do have an opportunity, they have outlets. Because not all of them are as tech savvy. I know another set of artists that are really into the online, and I think have a really good setup is Victor and Penny, Aaron Green and
I love that.
and Jeff, aka Victor
cool.
and Penny. But they really are embracing this online. Although I think they love on live performing too, and we all miss that.
Well, and Victoria and Jack have been doing quite a bit.
That's
great.
And Diane Alini, who's going to be teaching at Oktoberfest, she's really dialed in her online stuff.
Yeah.
Like we had talked about before, the more you do this, the more you start dialing it in, and whether it's equipment upgrade or just really learning how to use it. I think we've all seen quite a step up in people's home video production.
Absolutely.
Some of the most successful things I've seen have a weekly schedule. Like May Erlewine does Monday nights.
Yeah,
we have our Thursday nights. Sometimes I think some of the bands are just working their week around that. I want to see that show, and I know it's going to be on at this time. So, and that's a good frequency, I think, once a week.
It is.
Yeah, consistency.
Consistency is absolutely. And I know when I can do my show consistently, it gets a lot more listenership overall. And if I skip a month or two or something gets in the way, it really goes down from there. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we've pretty much gone through my topics that I had, and I think we just can wrap this up. Jeff, since you're kind of the new guy, or not new guy, but we didn't get as much.
Okay.
Let's see if there's anything that you want to talk about in terms of what's happening with your shop or festivals or things like that. We'll start off with you.
Well, I think that just retaining that positive energy, and I think the owner of the store, the co-owner, and I have just gone back to basics. Why are we here? Why do we have a shop? Do we still want to do this? Yes, it's super important for our musical community, and we just have to adapt. It's all about adapting. So, and we've been working really hard and have done that. I just think it's benefiting our community and people that we send instruments to, around the States and around the world.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's youptone.com.
Tone music, youptone.com. Yeah,
youptone.com.
YOUPTONE.
Yeah. If you want to, did you already?
It's in the YouTube chat. I'll send you all these links afterwards too.
Great. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Usually we have my co-host Doug Brown, but he's not here today, so I'm worried I'm gonna not have as many links as I usually do. All right. Well, it's great having you on the show, Jeff. Let's jump up to Matt. Wrong way, Matt. There we go.
Hey. All right. So yeah, I guess our big thing really is going to be the Forest Ukuleles next month is the big one for us. I mean, most of our autumn's going to be geared towards that and getting it out. But if anyone's interested in the online content, so this is all UK time. Wednesdays, every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, I'm doing a live lesson now. And at the moment, that's focusing on playing melodies and chords up the fretboard, so kind of playing up the dusty end. And then a Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, we have a Canacapilla. Yeah, so I think it was Sarah said actually once, you've bought all 21 frets, so you better learn to use them, which I think is quite good. So yeah, I've been using that bit. And then Friday we have our 3 p.m. UK time. We have our Canacapilla session. So that's kind of to get people playing without sheet music. So I teach them about, different progressions, 1-4-5 progressions, blues and jazz and stuff. So that's cool. And then, a lot of my content's going on to YouTube now. So if you just look up Matthew Stead on YouTube, there's a whole uke theory course on there, and I'm doing a new one on playing up the dusty end at the moment. So that's my main thing. And then buy my book. So my jazz standards for ukulele.
Yeah, show that again. Your new book, you just published that, right?
Yeah. So I've been working really hard on it over the summer. So each page comes with it. It's a chord melody arrangement.
Nice.
And then I've done like a little history of the piece and lots of playing notes for each one. So I think it's like 16, 17 songs on there. If I hold that like that. Doxia, so I've tried to kind of make it a bit more unusual. So I've gone for some of the famous jazz standards, but then ones that are a bit less known, like Nature Boy and On Green Dolphin Street and things like that.
Wait a minute. Nature Boy was done by George Benson, wasn't it?
Nat King Cole's the most famous version.
Right.
But there's a really sweet story. I don't want to take up all night, but the guy that wrote it, a guy called Eden Arbez, he just presented it to Nat King Cole one night at a concert. Yeah. Nat King Cole played it. The audience went mad, and he recorded it. And it took them months and months to find Eden Arbez, who wrote it, to give him the royalties. And they found him camping out underneath the H of the Hollywood sign in a tent. So there's your rock story for tonight.
Love it.
So,
What? It's great to hear a Hawaiian word with a British accent. Kani kapia.
yeah,
All right.
I don't even know if I say it right, but
No,
never
you
mind.
do. You do. It's good. I can recognize it. Good on
Thanks, buddy.
you. All right. And Ben, what's happening?
Well, my big things coming up are Uktoberfest, our two festivals, Uktoberfest this Saturday, October 3rd. And just search on Uktoberfest Interlaken because it's got I've got it listed here in the YouTube thing. And then Cyber Mud X Online Mighty Uke Day 10. This was our big year, number 10, and look what happened. But
I was wondering why the Cyber X. Okay, I thought it's like, wow, you're getting really like, spy, high tech.
That's right. So that just go to mightyukeday.com. And then, of course, down the line, we've got our big Midwest Uke and Harmonica Camp, which is in June with 16 instructors and 64 workshops. And frankly, right now, who knows?
Yeah,
we're going to be able to do about that. It's kind of, month to month.
So when you sign up for these things, is it that you pay like a tuition and then you get access to that? Is that how it works? Okay.
Yeah, you get, you pay a set amount. It's $75 for Uktoberfest and $60 for Mighty Uke Day, and then you go to a secret page.
Right.
And,
I know the landing page, a secret landing page.
Back and forth to whatever lessons or whatever you want to do.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that you guys are still doing this. So I'm really encouraged to hear that you guys are figuring out ways to do this during this really just crazy time. And I hope everything continues to go well. And as we do on every show, on 3, we'll say aloha. And thanks again to everybody. Oh, before I go, all you folks out there, please go to patreon.com/OokTown, OOKTOWN. Support the show. Helps me out so much so I can continue to pay the bills for the website. And when I can, I send out microphones and I would say webcams to people, but I think I can't get a hold of a webcam right now. I don't know.
I got one because of that. So
right. But yeah, you got. We were lucky we did it before this whole thing hit because I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, so on 3, everybody, thanks so much, and we'll say aloha.
All right.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Aloha. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. It was great having you guys on.
Thank you.